The real guides see each person as unique, not as a mass. This is how the true reality is, as opposed to the rep systems who want their herds to all think the same and agree to their self-made demands and coordinates. From all the human history, where is it that a politician or a church saved a person in the true sense? It can never happen, because no matter how well a person is educated here and how witty and smart they are, there's no match for the real guides. The belief systems have marketed the idea that anyone and someone else can save that person. And for the most part, a person cannot even save themselves unless they give themselves to the ideas of the church. It is not hard for anyone to check in their dream visions on the upper levels if Jesus or any of the other saints has anything to do with the belief system businesses on this planet. There are many notorious entities in the astral worlds who in fact impersonate Jesus and others as practical jokes. It's more than easy to fool those in the human state, as this is more than evident with what's taking place on the earth today. With the social structure of today, most people are simply shoved into a line and given a number, and most are willing to do it. The real guides watch closely for those who are all willing to jump the fence, so to speak, of the standard operating procedures of the space-time controllers. The great reality is unique, and so it is that all of us are the very same. Everything in a person's life is very important, just like all the parts that make a car run. Everything about a person is essential. And so, with all the wonderful knowledge that is being provided here, each and every person can do better. There has always been a sincere awareness about dreams and their relationship by people of every order of life. For the most part, those who have significant dream visions usually keep them to themselves for the simple reason of persecution and being different. Here again, we have a social consciousness which has been driven by the rep systems to consider life in particular grooves and considerations according to the authoritativeness of an official person. Those who have a real awareness of providing a true benefit must always exhibit a stepping forwardness and stand up for what they have experienced and discovered. As one learns to interpret their own intuition about their life, they will not be concerned over the illusionary conditioning of those who continually agree with the standards that have been established by those who cling to their demise. The real gods say very little as they demonstrate real truth for those who are ready to perceive it. What they present and what I'm presenting here is not for the faint of heart, but for those who want the thrills of living they have always been looking for. Life is a wonderful and beautiful, sincere moment, and it's always right now.
Yes, you talked about slipping into other dimensions. It's kind of interesting. I was looking at a Netflix series the other night called something as Shadow of the Moon. It was an action thriller. And this woman was apparently able to use a portal to come back from the future into the present day. She could only do this, though, at a certain time of the year when the moon was in a certain position. But it created a portal that she could travel through. And this is sometimes the way the other beings can enter in the physical. We have a seer that one of our new friends, she has a portal in her closet, actually, at her home. She had so much activity here that Dwayne asked her to close it because there were just too many visitors and too much going on through this portal. Because once the beings from other dimensions found it, they were using it quite extensively. And it was just too much after a while. And who knows who's coming, uninvited guests in your house, who knows who's coming in, So these things are very real. The wormholes and different dimensional doorways that we can find have some adventure with. It's kind of interesting. And the other thing you mentioned, Lila, was about, relationships. The real guides can help one with relationships. If there's somebody that's bugging you, or you just can't shake something, or somebody's in your space, so to speak, you can ask the real guides to release the tap lines you have with this person, and they will help you to see your attachment with the person, and if you want to let go of that, they'll help you with that, because there are actual, these tap lines are actually like rods or lines connected to the back of you, mainly to the back of you along the spine. In the astral, you can see these tap lines. So they're usually related to somebody you have an attachment to, or an idea or anything, but really relationships is a big one. So you can ask the real guides, Rebbe Zartars, Dwayne, Paul, to release these tap lines for you and see what happens.
Yeah, releasing those tap lines. There's a freedom. You can really feel that your back feels great. It doesn't feel as heavy nor as stiff as it was. You actually are better. You feel, wow, I didn't know those tap lines are so darn heavy. Mm-hmm. But they are, because that means they're heavy to the past, that you don't need that negativity in your life. In ancient times, there were professionals who perceptively worked with dreams among the Babylonians, Assyrians, Arabs, and Egyptians. So many of these people had achieved status in the arts and sciences of the times, and who were not superstitious and barbarians. Here again, a comparison comes into play, as those who were sincere seekers in the unknown areas of dreams versus the church and their view about others who would be their competition. There really is no versus, one with the other, or competition. But this is the thinking on the part of the ancient belief systems as they ruled with an iron fist and a ruthlessness of destruction. As they embedded fear into most people over the ages, It is really them who are so afraid of at least being equal to others, so that they must rule and be number one. As the real guides have taught their students through human history, and those brave enough to go out and weather the storm, what they presented to the public was usually shunned, and those who attempt to continue were gotten rid of. Anything which did not agree to present religious dogma, and that at the time was branded evil and superstitious. So we have the old church and what it has brought with it through thousands of years, and that is the actual and original superstition from ancient times itself. If religion is a true actuality, then blatant fear, intimidation, historical murder, the fear of God, rewritten dogmatic doctrines, and cursed upon hell and damnation have become the higher attributes of this life and the one beyond. How can this make any sensible sense? Where the real freedom without restriction has never mentioned or demonstrated overall. The belief systems have created your typical business model for the unscrupulous, and they control the political arena of men. This is not a criticism, but actualities from their own historical accounts. There have been so many in human history who have tried to provide a real benefit to mankind, yet the power mongers have always suppressed the most vital information, so as to keep the people slaves to those with the ball and chain. Each and every person has a right to discover their own true ability and genuine value, which is who they are really and are already. Because the masses have been taught to look to others, they feel so insecure to finally have the right and real information to figure out their own lives for themselves. I see everyone as unique, even those dolls who ploy others with their sophistication of worthless values. Those who have built monuments to themselves are usually the ones who are the most notorious and at some point in history always found out. An example is President Roosevelt, who very well knew the Japanese were going to bomb Pearl Harbor prior to World War II. It was all a ploy to get into the war, and American lives meant nothing. Yet these historical figures are praised for what they've done. I could go through history like you wouldn't believe, but that will only be another book. For those who are sincere and want to know real truth, they will be shown the universal files by the new League of the Real Universal Guides. And so we're on the right track here, people. You just come back next Thursday, and we will continue to give you the real universal guides, and you will get to know them. And it's time now to close the book on our bedtime stories. I hope you've enjoyed this evening. It's been great. We've given you a lot of things now to think about and dream about. And let's all sing the new you and close. And bless everyone who's listened to tonight. I hope you've enjoyed these stories and will take them to heart. Tim? Val? Thank you. Good night.
Good night. Happy dreams. Thanks.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Lila.
Yeah, sure. See ya.